Hello.
Hello.
Alright. Here, let me open the thing.
Yeah.
I have an idea for the drafting phase and the curtains that are just quicker. I don't think will be like ultimately the aesthetic that I want to go for the flop room, but they could be used for other things, and they're a good just like for now kind of thing because they're very quick.
Yeah,
and easy to do.
placeholder animation or something.
Yeah, so let me share.
Spread some pizzazz.
I was looking for. I was going to do the hand thing and the hand coming in drawing.
Yeah, I saw
thing.
the stuff.
But then
Discord.
I was looking up like images for reference, and I found something that I thought might be good for a different room, but also good for now. Are you seeing my screen?
Oh yeah, that looks nice.
Like, this would be super easy to do, just this popsicle stick style. I tried just duplicating the sprite and making it white to do like the outline, but they don't all, like, some of them have just shit in the negative space that makes the shape crazy. The gun doesn't too much, it has these little dots here, but like, just do a outline shader with some white, and then, we'll just make these things bob around like little kids playing with popsicle sticks, and then when you click on one, it
like
goes down.
And
or that
down,
too.
yeah.
I thought maybe it could spin and go through its poses as it was still on there, and that when you clicked it, it could go down and a new one comes up. But I would also be down for the spin for changing too. That could be fine. That could be cool.
Yeah, we can play around with it. I like this idea. It looks nice. And
I also
the shadows are they? You just have a shadow shader on there?
No, I don't. It's
Or
just
is it
it's just the sprite with.
Oh, you just have an actual light in there.
No, it's not a light. I was going to do that, but it's the sprite just back a little and alpha down and
faded alpha down.
Yeah.
Looks
So,
good. It looks
I
good.
figured lighting would be harder, more processing resources. So I
Yeah,
didn't wanna
probably
do an
would be.
actual
But, yeah.
light. But we could do an actual light if that would be fine. But I think this is a good. Also, I think this would work well to bridge the style between Jeff's stuff, because we could do like the dot pointillism like sort of edges, right? And then Dave's style are on the popsicle sticks, so they're like, it's a good bridge of the two styles, I think.
Yeah, I think there's something to it. It looks nice. I like it. I think it's a good idea. It's very good. I was talking to Jeff yesterday about having him do, because your businessman art, right? That's just from online. I talked about I asked him if he wanted to take a crack at drawing a businessman. If you're cool with that, I just want to make sure that we don't have our art
I
in
need
the
the
game.
businessman in parts though. I need it in, like, cause his arms and legs and torso and head all animate separately.
Yeah, just maybe mention that to him so he knows exactly what he's making. But I just want to make sure that only our art is in here when we show it off. Because that's a big part of the pitch, right? Is that we are not like stealing or doing generative AI kind of stuff. And I think it goes a little bit further to be able to say everything in here is ours. Obviously, same thing with the popsicle stick, but that seems pretty easy for someone else to draw, unless you drew
I
it.
actually did draw the popsicle stick.
Looks good. It looks very good.
It is just literally just
a couple of lines.
a couple of lines, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that for that.
I like it. I think it's a great idea.
So how do we go about actually doing that? Should I make a fake object that references the sticker sets, and
It should
then
be
you'll just turn it into
standalone
the stickers when it gets in the room?
Exactly. Standalone object that references the sticker set, and so it'll have a sprite set index and a sprite index. two numbers that from given any, you know, that from you that to tell you what set is part of it and which pose is in. And then you should be able to easily swap that out, basically. So there should be like a next pose or next set, you know, or randomized set button or function. Yeah, that should work. Animation stuff, if you feel free to take a crack at it. If not, I can definitely do it.
Yeah,
the
animation stuff will
programmatically.
be fine. The hardest part of it is just going to be making sure the stick is in the right spot for all the stickers. Honestly, that'll be.
That won't be too bad as long as we put the center in the true center, which we have to do anyway. Right now they don't rotate around. Some of them don't rotate around the center, which is a pain. Like some of the stickers, when you rotate, they literally rotate around some other axis because that's where the defined center of the sticker is. But if we just move that little circle in the sprite editor to the true center of the center of mass, then all you have to do is make sure the top of your stick lines up with that, right?
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think this is a good idea. I have the flop mode is in a little bit of a disarray right now because I'm refactoring it. Once I was putting the carousel in and realized I needed to change some things around to get it to work properly with the carousel and all that other good stuff. So it's close to done. But I mean, as you see in the carousel, I'll show you the most updated version, which is basically the same thing, but I'll show you the reusability of the carousel, I guess. Let me stream. All right. So carousel's right now built into two parts. I don't know, the hierarchy's over there. A carousel actor and a carousel. So the carousel itself could theoretically be used for anything, which I think is the way we should go in general. But let's say, for example, if I do, well, let's just start with 8 because 8 looks pretty good. So here's, I think, basically the.
Your voice is like doubling up every. Oh, now it's back to normal.
I don't know what it would be.
Oh wait, hold on.
Maybe it's just
stream.
Discord weirdness. Oh yeah, see if you can
It's your stream.
just disable the audio because you were previously watching the Jackbox stuff. So it works just the same as it always did. I think this is a good balance between the rotation. It does a ease in and out elastic, which I think looks really nice.
Yeah, I like it. I like that a lot.
And I have now, instead of just putting one black thing in front of it, now I added a function so that on each individual panel, let me grab the panel here. Let's find which panel this is. This is this set. So like on each panel here, I can now actually apply the color. I updated the shader to take the color in from the sprite renderer. So I'm actually darkening it by just running down this,
Gotcha.
which I think will be useful for us in the future if we ever want to allow for colored panels. Yeah, but so if we look at the sprite renderer, if you have this run on update thing, this is like a debug test for now. I'll remove it eventually, but it lets you see. It basically allows you to change the values here and have it update the position. So there's the Y, which is basically rotate everything around the Y axis. There's the Z, which is basically the vertical tilt, right? So this way or this way. And then there's the X, which is the rotation, like starting rotation. Which way do you want the first index to face, essentially?
Right
and then X and Y radius, or X and Z, Y and Z radius, excuse me. So this is the Y radius right now because it's rotated slightly. be more obvious if it was like this. But that's the Y radius. Oh, sorry, that's the Y rotation. Here's the Y radius, right? And then here's the Z radius, just a squash on this side. So it should be pretty universal and reusable on basically everything we do. And then obviously the interpolation functions, which you've seen already, we can play around with those to try to
I
get
think the one you
those.
have in there looks pretty nice.
Yeah, I like it. I'm happy with it. But the carousel should be reusable for other things if we decide we want to. The thing I need to do still is, so this looks great. Like that looks, I'll do it one more time. It looks really nice for 8 things, right? This is perfect positioning. I think this is how I imagine you, or how
Yes,
like
this is
the
pretty
impression
much,
I got.
Yes,
Yeah.
this is pretty accurate.
But when I do it for like 4, obviously it won't look as nice because the things are more spaced out. So I had to change the radius, basically.
Change
I'll have
that
to
based on
figure
the
out
number
what.
of players, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So obviously this doesn't look nice. So I'll have to, basically in this case, I'd want to shrink the Z radius. Also probably twist it a little bit like this. Shrink
We could
the
just have
Y
presets
radius.
for 3.
I think
to
that's what
8.
we'll have to do, yeah, for now, because the math for that is going to be complicated, right?
Yeah.
But something like that. But yeah, we'll have to have steps. For now, we only are going to support 4 players, I think, for the start, right? So we'll just start with that. Because it's also a long time probably to go through individual things. I also was thinking for the present round, we could have something where, because I have this dimming effect in
Where one comic goes dim and the next one just comes up.
well, I mean, yeah,
Honestly.
we could definitely do that, but even for the individual, that's not a bad idea. But for the individual, have them all start like this, right? Something like this, and then I'll, like on a timer, just pop this in,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that you kind
That's,
of
I like that better.
pop, then.
Oh, like the player presses a button and it does that.
We could have a player press a button, or just have it work on a timer. 'Cause it's just a set time to give people, like, encourage people to look at it sequentially, and also give it a little bit of flavor, right?
I think it'd be cool if the player could do that though. Like if I have a
I
panel.
agree that it would be cool, but I do worry that it could, someone may not realize they have to do it.
We'll just give the player who's presenting a little notice that says, left click to, to whatever, unveil your next panel, next thing.
Yeah,
Also,
we could.
You're picturing this as when you get to the second panel, the first one stays bright, right? It doesn't go back dim.
Yeah, it has to stay bright because you want to see it in context. But I imagine like it would look exactly like I just animated it, basically, right? Where this comes on.
I like that a lot.
on this one.
I do think I would like control over that as a player, just because if I have a quippy short last panel or middle panel, let's say, is probably a better example, and I just want to spend a couple seconds there before I go to the third, that'd be nice.
Yeah, they definitely should have control long term. Whether or not that is, I would like to balance it so that it's easy for both people that want to do both. I mean, I guess Jackbox does this, right? They have the present yourself or let us present for you thing. As long as it is, I'll have to make sure it's bug free. It may not get into the pitch depending on, or not the pitch, but like what we are showing Rami Ishmael. I don't know how to pronounce his name.
Right on. That all sounds good.
Yeah, but at the very least, having an automated thing that does it should be very easy to do because it's all local. I don't have to network that. Yeah, I will. So yeah, I'll mess around with that. The voting carousel should be in before the end of the weekend. That should be easy enough to do. And then the yeah, with your stickers on a stick, stick-ers,
I did think when I was naming the thing that it was a bit confusing that I had a thing named Stick Shadow and Sticker Shadow. But yeah,
we can
that
always refactor later. Just make sure they're like grouped together in a logical unit, and we can make we can make the classes more usable if they're not. But just prototype it and for now, and then we'll
yeah, I'm
refactor
just gonna make a thing that
afterwards.
bobs around, has a button for now. Or actually it'll just be click, right? It'll be on click. You know, go below the screen, come back up with change my sticker, come back up with new sticker and bob around.
Yeah, you'll have to decide how the interaction is gonna work for you for the click. So you can do just the gain object on mouse down, like that works, or on mouse up or whatever.
Well, there's gonna be several on the screen at once in the ultimate iteration, up to 5, right? So
No, a game object has has functions for that stuff. Like Unity has built-in functions for.
But will the on mouse down also consider whether the mouse is hovering over the sticker, or is it just whenever?
It's for a specific game object, yeah. So on a mono behavior, you would do a. Let's see here. Well, let's just go to Unity's documentation. It's probably easier to find because I don't want to mess with these classes right now. It doesn't matter. So if I'm on here on panel, for example, I could do, I think it's just called void on mouse down. And then there's void on mouse up. I think this should just work.
And how do you actually center a sprite?
Once I'll say in a second. Let me just test to see that this actually works. I believe it does for mono behaviors. I think Unity just has that built in.
Is it not pivot? Pivot. Sprite mode. And it says pivot, center, top, left, yada yada yada. Custom.
We could also just make the stickers.
Actually, it probably should be custom, right? Because that is. Center might not be the actual center. Center is probably the center of the image, not the center of the sticker.
Well, here I'll take a look in a second, but because I do know what you have to change. But it's just that little circle. All right. Yeah. So you see that? So clicking on this now, mouse down, clicked on panel, mouse up, released. If I drag off, so that's the only downside, I guess, is if I drag off, it still clicks because it knows I clicked down on it.
I think there's an on hover or something too. You might be able to work.
Or you could make it a button, like a scene button. That will work. The only problem with that is it needs a well, I guess there's no real problem with that. I think that would work just fine. I think if I remember right, my scene buttons have a. Let me save this and put a new game object in here and test it. I believe my scene buttons have something for. That's not what I want. Sprite. We'll do just a circle for now. That's fine. Add a collider. There you go. Yeah, so you don't have to do the enlarge and shrink on press. So if you just turn these toggles off, this will work just like normal without any animation on the press stuff.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and if you set the active color and inactive color to the same, it'll always be just set everything white. Like that. And then, yeah, then you can use the press, release, click, which is press and release on the same thing. Hover start, hover end events as you want.
Right on.
and it'll work just like everything else. Yeah, and then for the sprite editor stuff,
Okay, here's the
so
center.
like,
I see. This is how where we want it to rotate around.
let me see. Yeah, you're not streaming, but yeah, it's just this little blue dot here. This is where you need to.
So there's still gonna be the issue of like, so for the gun, I would almost want the stick coming out of the butt of the gun, not the center. If I put it to the center and everything, sometimes it's gonna look weird because it's gonna be going through transparent areas like the gun. Unless I make the center. Unless I just find the bottommost part of the bounding box of the collider or something and make it go there.
Why don't you stream and I'll take a look at what you're...
But like, if I put the center here and I put this popsicle stick to the center, right? It's gonna be going through here, which
Yeah,
is
you probably would want it in the guns part, yeah. So probably what we need to do is create a wrapper around a sprite so that you can manually set the, kind of have a editor like this, but you could manually set a different point for the stick to go through, because it's going to be hard to do programmatically. Right.
I think if you just do the bottommost point of the collider, wherever that is, like the bottommost thing where something is drawn, or where the where that thing I draw around the sprite is.
That probably works for most things. Yeah, there may be things where that doesn't make sense, like the bathtub, right? Its feet.
Yeah. Or maybe I do center. For the wrapper just says whether to use the center or that. And maybe that'll be enough. I can just
Yeah, well, we can figure it out. Why don't you start by just getting it to use the center of the sprite, the pivot point of the sprite, and then we can change that value later. Like we can reprogram that. Just for now, set it up to use the center of the sprite, which is right now where we want it to actually rotate around. That we want to set the center of the sprite to its rotation center, because right now that is kind of annoying. When you're rotating something, it doesn't actually rotate around the center. Sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can easily make a wrapper for you for each of the sprites.
Although if we do just if we do this white outline part with a shader, maybe just having everything that's like transparent and surrounded by something else be white like this is, because this actually wouldn't look bad if it was going to the center now, because there's this white here.
Yeah, that would be a harder thing to figure out. Like if I was doing this by a shader, a really easy way to do that would be to just take everything and enlarge it essentially, and then make the enlargement white. That's easy to do. To find a hole in something is harder actually. The collider naturally has a hole, if I think about it, but I don't know the collider data very well, to be completely honest. What is this?
I just put
looks
kind of material on there. All this extra white around. I was trying to show how the cop thing looks. What do I have for this?
That seems to be like I'm guessing, is that where the like bounds of the cop's collider thing were adjusted to?
It shouldn't be. That seems pretty, unless I never did the cop.
There's just that one.
Oops. Does he not
It looks
have?
like it's just not. It doesn't have one.
I am 100% sure that I did this for this guy.
Yeah, I know.
I
Oh, I wonder if it.
Unity
Oh,
6 fucked that up maybe.
yeah. I hope it didn't get fucked from Unity 6. Because it did re-import that stuff, but I was hoping it would re-import it with the data that it already had. I can help with that stuff if it's a pain. I have a feeling though we're gonna do that one more time anyway because we are going to significantly lower the resolution of some of our sprites, and we want to do that in the drawing itself. We don't want to let the compression do that, so we're gonna have to do a lot of that, honestly. Anyway, so we should just wait to do it until we actually need it to do it, kind of thing.
So is everything grabbing all weird right now?
Not that I've noticed. You can go into the offline room and play around. I think everything works just fine. It's good for most things, right? It's just the problem is when it's like the polygon collider does know how to get the polygons on the cop. Like the cop is easy enough to do. If you click on that sprite sticker right now, the sprite render for that, you can actually apply the polygon collider and see what it looks like.
Click on the cop, you said?
Is it actually a sticker
Not
sticker
actually
or
a
is it
sticker,
just?
it's just a sprite.
Alright, so
right now.
add a polygon collider here. There you go. So that's what it looks like. So it's pretty good. It already knows where to go. Now we save processing power by giving it hints and stuff, and helping it the problem is it was on the brows. Remember them moving an eyebrow like dropped your frame rate because it had like 1,001 triangles. The cop works just fine, so it doesn't really need too much.
Maybe we just do the things that are bad with the polygon collider.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I could just find a way to make everything look like this gun here. It looks alright, except for these little dots here. Like, just by duplicating the, duplicating this.
I mean, if there are little dots and shit, sorry, you're just duplicating the sprite itself, applying material and making it a little bigger.
Different material, yeah. But yeah, it still gets all of this stuff in there.
What if you go back to the regular sprite material? Change the color on this to like completely black or something.
It can be black, but it can't be white.
Yeah, I know, but I can make a shader for you that can be white. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I can do that then. I'll just make these all black.
Yeah. So you'll probably want it to be like literally right behind it in whatever the plane is.
Yeah,
like
that's
as close that there's no. Oh well, we'll be doing an orthographic camera actually, so it won't matter at this point.
Well, I wanted even though these aren't real shadows, I did want, so if you notice here, let me undo it. Whatever, we can leave that for now. Negative 0.1 or 0.1.
Yeah, there you go.
So if I move these, you can notice that like the shadow does actually move semi-realistically behind it.
Oh yeah, because
nice.
It is a perspective camera, is what you're saying.
Yeah. So I was hoping we could use a perspective camera for this, but I could also just do this programmatically and move it.
Yeah, we could do it programmatically. Yeah, let me think. I'll have to think about it. Because right now it's just that you're just moving the transform, right? And it's just getting different angle on that, and that's why it's.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
It literally is like a shadow right now. It's just a little bit back from the.
Yeah.
from the other thing.
Yeah, it's a good effect. It's a good effect. We can use it for this. We should embrace the camera swapping. So we're gonna need a system for that because it does look good. We'll need a system for it anyway. So I think that's fine.
All right, I will do this under the assumption that we're okay with a perspective camera then.
Yeah, that's fine then. I think that looks good. Then if it's a perspective, yeah, you want the shadow version to be as close to the thing as possible while still showing, so that it doesn't look offset like just like the shadow does. Just enough to get it to render in front. Also, you could just manually set their render order actually. So
yeah, that's what I did
literally
for
on
the
same plane.
Yeah, that's what I did for the like these are on the shadows on the background sorting layer of this.
Yeah. So that you can do manually set the order in the layer too to do that. So you can keep it on the same layer, literally put it on the same Z plane as the sticker, but just set the sort of order for the sticker to one higher than the shadow or the white outline.
If I do that, is it gonna still do the moving thing from left to right?
Yeah, this is just the draw order. That's all that it controls. But oh, sorry, no. For the shadow, keep the shadow where it is. I'm talking about for the outline. Keep the shadow offset.
It is literally. If you look at it here, they are in the same. It's Z fighting with itself.
Yeah.
Although I do think they are actually on the same layer right now, but
it might just be by luck that it's doing it. Yeah. It might just be, or like it would just. I think the order the game objects are added and the components are added has something to do with it too. The order that they get added to some list. But yeah, if for any reason it's not working the way you expect, then yeah, just do that. But okay.
Right on.
I think this will work.
I'll try to do that this weekend. I've been fucking sick to my stomach for like 4 days. Just randomly. Just like I'll just get real sick. On New Year's Eve morning, I threw up. And that's the only time I actually threw up. But I don't know what...
You have children, so maybe you actually just got sick from them, from their germs and going to school with all those other germs.
Probably. Alright, but yeah, that all sounds good, and I'm not sure if I'll get this done this weekend, but I'll do something. I saw you guys put a list of things that need other poses in here, so I could do some stuff. I could do some other poses for the chicken and the cow. Cow also needs...
Dave said that he would do the things that he drew. He at least.
Oh, okay, so he's doing
as long as he actually. Yeah. Well, anything that he drew, he'll do. Jeff said he would take a look at some of his too if they're in there. Jeff gave me the new buttons, which are in the zip, so we can now get the offline buttons in there, because the offline button has that. I think I asked him too for a tutorial button that had that looks more. The tutorial button I thought would look nice as like the coming soon button or sticker thing that we put in the presentation. You know, to have it stand out a little bit, be a little bit different. So I think that might be in there too. I'm gonna book a session with the.
Alright, I will. Let me know how much that is.
I'm gonna just do the 250 one. I think I've been going back and forth all day on it, trying to figure out which one to get. It's hard to know, like, but at least in the 250 one, we can get him in the room for a conversation. Have him look at the pitch deck because he won't look at the pitch deck for the other one, the cheaper one.
Yeah,
but he knows. But at least this is it's like a good context. It's a pitch. It literally is your game's solid, but your business case or pitch might need some work. He does recommend 3 sessions if you've never pitched before, which is like, okay, that's $750. That's a lot of money. But maybe because we already had the pitch deck made and stuff, and it's supposed to be an hour session with him, then we maybe then we can get away with just 2, or maybe even just 1. Maybe after 1 we'll say we'll decide whether or not we think it's valuable and reevaluate. I never know. It's always a risk with like consultant stuff. You never know if it's actually going to be valuable or not.
Yeah, the thing I'm definitely down to do at least one. The thing I would, the three things I would like his input on are the pitch,
business model,
the monetization business model
Yeah.
thing, and like servers and all that. And I don't even know if that's his. Like his Vlambeer made single player games only, so he might not have anything to say about that.
Well, so if you look at this whole spiel, he's talking about how like he made those games a long time ago, and like, but since then his whole thing has been consulting for.
Yeah, he's been a consultant for a
indie
long time,
studios
and
or whatever.
even at Vlambeer, he said he took more of a producer role, and he wasn't really on the creative side of things that much. He's like, I had the perfect partner, like I had the guy, just one guy who was into the art side of it, and one guy who was into and I was the business guy, basically, right? Like so the third thing is like marketing. How do we do marketing for a game like this? And I think he'll have some good insight there.
Yeah, my worry is though it's gonna be like, get on fucking social media, get on Reddit, like show your game off kind of thing, which is gonna be hard because that's like a full-time job in itself.
Yeah, that probably is honestly the right answer too. Like I just saw today, there's this guy who started a YouTube channel talking about his game like 4 or 5 months ago. It couldn't have been only but that, but he's got, I watched his videos because I was like, wow, these are really like well produced, and the video, like the camera quality is real nice and everything, and I'm so surprised these are only getting like a couple hundred views. And then I went today, and his last video has 175,000 views, and his game is nothing special at all. It's a very bog standard, not bog standard, but it's an action platformer, platform with punching, and like I always say we should do like a video thing about updating the game, but also those things tend to do well, I noticed, when it's at least presented as one guy making their dream game, and they present themselves as more of an amateur, and I'm making this game, and it's going to be so small you could have influence on it just by commenting below, right? Like, that's the appeal of it.
I think too, yeah, like doing something like that, I don't think I'd want to be in the public eye and like that at all. You obviously could do that if you want. The thing I think I'd be more interested in is, I'd be more willing to do would be like posting it on Reddit, the Unity forums or whatever, the Unity subreddit and stuff, and showing off the game's progress. People love that shit. They are always like, especially if they can follow a game from barely working to fully working.
Yeah.
And they're commenting on it. Because I see that stuff, and it gives me.
Yeah, that video with 175,000 views was about slopes. And platforming. That's what it was, a 12-minute video about slopes.
Yeah, people love that that kind of stuff. So I think that is going to be important. But like, if that's the answer, then like fucking I know that. I know that. I don't need I don't need to spend $250 for you to tell me that. But what I do need $250 for I will spend $250 for is for you to look at my pitch, look at the numbers, and say, yes, this makes sense, and say, yes, a producer or a publisher would be interested in something like this. Or no, you need to reframe it like in some way, and there's also the off chance that like he could give us some more insight. I don't think he's like his purpose is to talk about the game itself so much in this type of meeting, according to the description. But I wouldn't mind feedback on how he thinks how accessible and interesting or
I would like
uh,
feedback on like, is this gonna be able to dethrone Jackbox a little bit? Like, do
yeah,
you
or like
think?
how much potential he thinks the game has, right?
Yeah, yeah, I would like that.
Yeah. So we'll see. I don't mind because I just don't I'm not willing to do the $500 meeting. That's a lot. Um, there are cheaper like indie services out there. There's a $250 indie studio consultancy, but it doesn't really talk about. It seems to be more for established studios. Um, and then there's the indie advice, a 30-minute call, but it explicitly doesn't review pitches there. It says you won't do that. Yeah, that's the website. The one with
I was
the little
looking for
diamond.
which games he like if he has a list of games that came out that he consulted for or anything, but I guess he probably wouldn't publish
If you
that.
go click on the his website, he at least he doesn't have the list of games, but he does talk about like funding secured. They're like these numbers, right? Like where are these numbers coming from? Like deals closed, $51 million in
I think
deals.
this is probably the most meaningful number,
Yeah.
right? He's games that have published. He's consulted on 157 of them.
Yeah, that's the question. I do want to know which ones those are. Like, I would like to see some of examples, right? Are these like mobile titles? Are they? But this is what I'm looking at right now. The page. Like, not that his information, like that he wouldn't be valuable. That's client talks and shit. But I just don't know. Like, I'm not looking for a pep talk. I'm looking for actual information that we could use. And I just, with like experience with consultants in the past, at like Alliance, I worry that it will just be basically a pep talk. But it's $250. It's not that big a deal. It's some money, but that's like 2 weeks of lunch. If I just bring my lunch every day for 2 weeks, that covers me for that.
I have started in not buying lunch at work because I'm doing jujitsu now.
Ooh, at
And it's expensive.
lunchtime?
No,
Oh,
it's just
I
the
was like,
lunch money. The gym I go to is expensive, but it's because it's like the official Gracie one run by
hmm.
someone related to the original Gracie, and it's like 2 feet away from my house. So there are better. I would rather do a no-gi gym because it's very,
Hmm.
very technique focused, and like you're not allowed to. I got allowed to by just going enough and going to the extra things, but like you're not allowed to go live until you've taken a test basically.
Oh, okay.
And I'm still months away from that test, but I they have open mats in the on the most inconvenient times, like the last one I went to was literally the day after New Year's, so you know, only the most sober of people show up for it. Um,
Oh, that's cool. Yeah,
I
I don't think I would be interested in something like that, but I can appreciate
I'd
your
rather
interest in
wrestle.
it.
I'd rather wrestle, but there's no social avenue for socially acceptable avenue
Uh,
for me to do that. So
you can't just show up at Nico's high school
I
when
had
he
hoped he would
whatever
get
high school
into it
he'll.
so that I
Uh,
could like worm my way into the gym for free, but he's not that into it.
no.
So but it's nowhere near as taxing on your body as wrestling is, but it's still more than anything I would do at Planet Fitness for sure.
Yeah, I only do Planet Fitness I do that during my lunch now because it's the only way for me to get exercise and make sure I do it. because it's so convenient. It's literally 2 minutes from my work.
Yeah, it's so cheap too. It's $10 a month. This gym is $150 a month,
Holy crap, that's insane.
which is more expensive even than CrossFit. There's another place down the road that does CrossFit. That's 110.
That's insane. Yeah,
But
it's crazy.
that is still less than I was spending on lunch because I would buy lunch 3 days a week and it's like $18 or $12 a day. So if I don't eat lunch, I'm still paying for it. I'm still not losing money. But
Yeah, that's how I usually rationalize my monthly expenditures too. Is if I don't eat out, then I'm
but
uh,
it's
saving money.
I also thought I was like, oh, I'll wait till I'll go up against one of these, you know. I don't really know what the belt colors mean, but it seems to me like there's a lot of blues, only a few purples, and then brown and black and anything above that. But it's the I was like, oh, I'll go against one of these blue belt guys because they seem to be just above my level, and I'll try and go from neutral so I can use wrestling really well, right? But they honestly, I'm not even joking, will just flop right on their back and just wait. Jiu-jitsu seems to be very much about waiting for someone else to wear themselves out
Make
and
a
then
mistake.
choking them. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
All right. I'm thinking the business and pitch feedback one. If you go to the booking page that you were on, the last tab there. So I think the top one's not like it's too expensive for something we don't know what we're gonna get. You get like an extra 30 minutes. Like this, these are the two that I'm going between because these are the two where you actually he'll actually review your pitch, which is we have a pitch. We do need him to review it.
and this is an hour and 30. This is an hour.
Mhm. The only problem is with this one, he seems to recommend multiple meetings.
I mean, I could throw in for this one if we'd rather do this one, but either one of these sounds fine.
I don't really fully understand the difference between them, to be honest. One is labeled advanced, which like does that mean that we shouldn't be asking about it because we don't know what we're doing?
I don't know why this has the word pitch in it. I don't see the word pitch anywhere in the okay, yes, there is.
Yeah, who helps pitch daily? He says pitch there, I guess.
It's confusing that it says you don't need to prepare anything besides having your game idea ready.
I guess because it says this is pitch development, not pitch review. So not pitch feedback. So this is like we don't have a pitch yet.
Yeah, definitely this one then.
I think the second one makes the most sense. The second one you can like also add like a $500 analysis document. I don't think we're gonna do that. That's insane to me. $750
That
is
would be
insane.
like if you wanted to have somebody else look at your server cost thing or something.
Yeah, maybe something like that probably would be worthwhile. But I think we can figure out the math for that. I don't think it's that complicated.
Yeah.
It just requires me actually sitting down and double checking the numbers, which I didn't do last time. And making sure that I put parentheses in the right spot. I don't think that will actually, at least getting the numbers for like a rough estimation, I don't think that will be that difficult. It's simple math.
Yeah. Yeah, this one
All
definitely
right.
does sound better.
So if we do that, then all those times are
Also, is this
are
actually
in the
$250 or is
morning.
this pounds or something and it's gonna be like 300 something?
It's 200. It's like it's like a dollar is like or a euro is like $1.04 or something. So it winds up being trivial.
Okay.
Let's see.
And it's
definitely not 250,000. It's just that, and actually a euro is $1.03. So it'd be $257.81.
okay.
I also don't mind covering the whole thing. I just mostly want
I'll throw in for sure. I'll
another
throw in.
person there. I'm hoping that that capacity doesn't mean only one person can be on the call with him. I'm hoping that capacity just means you can only book one of these at a time or something. I don't understand what the capacity thing means. It's a weird metric.
Does it say anywhere on here if you're allowed to record these? Probably not, right?
That's the thing. Why wouldn't I be allowed to? I'm paying you for this service, right? Shouldn't I be allowed to record them?
Because you could put it out and say like, oh, he gave me bad advice here. I followed this
Yeah.
advice and it yada yada yada. I would imagine is a reason they wouldn't want you doing that, but you know, as long as I'm not streaming, there's nothing stopping me from recording it to my own personal computer and never telling Rami Ismail. although I'm streaming right now, so hopefully
Right
Rami
now,
Ismail isn't watching.
we can just ask him up front
Yeah,
if
I
we can
wouldn't
do
do
it.
it unless he said he was okay with it.
Yeah, and we can like that's why I want another person on the call, so that we can make sure that that we don't miss anything and we get the information that we need. But the part of the downside here is his calls, because he's on the other side of the world, are only bookable in the mornings. So you're basically going to have to take a day off, or we'll have to do it on a day where I'm gonna have to take a day off. You'll have to do it on a day where you work from home.
Yeah, that's fine. Mondays or Fridays I work from home typically. So
All
those
right,
are
so
best
Monday's
for me.
work. We could do it on, if we're doing it on a Monday, the soonest we could do it is the 20th, which I think is reasonable time frame.
Yeah, that's
If we
fine.
want to, yeah.
We can get
So
the
I would say, so it looks like it's 8:30 to. Sorry, hold on. So it would be 8:30 my time. Let me go for a month. 20th. Chicago time is my time, right?
yes, should be.
All right, and then if I log in with this. All right, I had to give him a short description. It also has a link. Should I send him a link to the game? Probably, right? Just
Yeah, why not? Send them
game is
the
functioning right now, right?
I don't know what's on the actual website.
I mean, at very least the offline mode, which is the one he can do. Functions. There's some quality of life stuff that could be added. I don't think he's gonna look at it though until like a couple of minutes before the meeting or something. Not minutes, sorry, a couple of days before the meeting, I mean. Yeah, it works at least. It works well enough to show.
I'll also probably try to recreate Jeff's, I need his background from the slide, but then I probably take...
We talked about that. He said he would get that for us.
I can take this image at least and chop it up into the individual letters and make them wiggle a little bit, and then that'll pretty much be it for that one. And then his background.
I feel like the way they are made, it would be nice if they like popped
Pop forward. Yeah, that was my original idea. I was like,
order.
can you just get me? I can still do that. I can just
like you just get the S or the orange part, and then you make
this part.
Shadow. Yeah.
That was my original idea, but then I was like, that's gonna be a lot more work.
It would be a lot more work. Yeah.
Wiggling them, but yeah, they should. Actually, how would I even do that? I'm thinking about it. Like
You had to think about it. It'd actually be more complicated than you think. You'd have to make a shader for it. Because you don't want to just layer like a million versions of that game object, because that's not going to be efficient. Making game objects, like having lots of game objects in a scene, is a bad thing. But with a shader, you could pretty easily do it. Or not easily, but you could do it. It would just take some time to figure out the shader. But once you had it, it would be very easy to set up for all the letters.
What if I just made it 3D and changed its scale?
You could, but then you'd have to model a 3D S.
So if I take a 2D S and I change its, with just a little bit of, actually.
It has to be a model, a mesh, right? 3D. You need a mesh renderer. So you need to have a model STRIPPD or STRIPD. Also, I bet you it's easier for like Jeff or someone to make that animation in some sort of Adobe software. Like I bet you that's very doable from Adobe, like super easy, and we just play basically a GIF.
Yeah, that's probably the right way to do it. Maybe, yeah, let's have Jeff do that part.
Yeah. And if it doesn't get in, it's not the worst thing in the world. So that way, if he wants to do it and tries, and if he fails, it's not like we wasted time implementing something a little better.
These mushrooms make you feel better. Like a lot better. These mushrooms help you focus while lowering stress, keeping you calm, but sharp. They reduce bloat and protect your gut so you can digest better. Plus, they boost your immunity so you can stay healthy and energized. Wait, and they taste good? Someone should make a coffee out of this stuff. Rise. Feel better.
It's totally cool to rent.
I could actually probably just make it with that thing we were using to make levels in.
So why not rent the stuff you
need
in the place to do it is
the Rune game, and just model it in there. Jeff doesn't want to do it, but if Jeff wants to, if Jeff has the software and thinks that'll be easy enough.
And never get surprised by hidden fees. Rent what you need.
Fine with that
It's
too.
better at Aaron's.
Also, I keep saying things are good enough, and when I listen back to myself saying that, I'm like, this sounds negative, but I don't mean it that way. I mean, like,
have not
everything I do
noticed.
in game design is the good enough approach. Like, good, like,
I haven't noticed that how anyone else has. Alright, so we have to give a problem description here. I'm saying we're a small team of 4 hoping to pitch our first game. Problem is, we all work full-time jobs, none of which is game development.
yeah.
None of which are game development, I think.
Also, we know how to make a game, but we don't have no idea how to market it or get it in front of people who know how to market it or, you know, publish it or anything like that. Say something like that, maybe.
Yeah, I'll mention that we've already written a pitch deck. We already generated a pitch deck, and we have a working demo, though currently unpolished. Or maybe we have a working demo that we're working on polishing. We have a functioning demo that we're working on polishing. That should be the phrasing. Let me get to the fucking. I'm gonna move to my. Do this in my computer so I can type this out more easily. Let's see here.
Is there a way through code, without a serialized field, to reference all of the sticker sets and everything?
Yeah. If you go to sticker set manager, I believe. Sticker set manager is a singleton, so you can access it from anywhere just by calling sticker set manager dot. And then you want, let me see, you want like
I
what,
just
the
need to
list
get
of
the
all.
sprite. I need to get the sprite. I just need to get the sprite actually from.
So you can get sprite set given an integer. You can get the set count given the integer, or from there. So if you go look at sticker set manager, you should have everything you need. Let me- So you'll see that there. You see that's a singleton, which means that you can just call it by typing in sticker set manager.instance, and then set count will give you the number of sets that it currently has. Then you can get a sprite set by the index. and it'll give you the set.
If
Once you have a
so
sprite
if I
set,
just call this, and what I need back though is what I need returned to me is the sprite. It's just the sprite. Yeah. Do any of these return the sprite, or do these act on a?
they return the set. So like get sprite set would give you a specific one if you know the one you want. If you want a random one, then you would do get random sprite set. But you notice I put there the exclude indices in case you already have ones if you want to exclude duplicates, right?
Okay. So I'll need a list. Or I'll need.
So the params there lets you put them in individually or as a list or as an array. So if you like go to your function or your whatever you're trying to call it, type in sprite set manager dot. It's not so. Click on it. Click into the sprite set manager and click control period. Control plus period, and then it should have. It's not there. A bit weird. Just hit escape. Go to the top and type in using sticker, capital S. Should be in that. Why don't you see that? Oh, sorry. It's called sticker set manager. That's my fault. Yeah, get rid of the using. You don't need it. It's not in a namespace. It's the thing is called I had the wrong name. Sticker set manager. There you go. Dot. And then it's going to be get random sprite set.
Okay, and this will return to me
A sprite set.
a sprite set.
So yeah, and that sprite set is like the police and all its
Is that a
its poses.
list of things?
It's a sprite set object. Literally
Okay.
called sprite set.
Sprite set. So I could do current sprite set equals this, right?
Yeah.
And then I have the sprite set, and now how do I
And
get
if you want to in the future exclude all ones that already exist, you would put them as an array as an argument into that.
So right
Just so you
now,
know.
this thing.
For now, just start by doing random ones, and we can worry about the exclusion of duplicates later.
I'm just, it doesn't matter about that. Yeah, the random ones are totally fine. I'm just thinking, okay, so this, what needs to change is this to something
Yeah,
else.
so now that you have a sprite set, go back to the code. You need your reference to your sprite render in here, right? So go to the popsicle sticker is a great name. Do sprite render in here.
And this is just my sprite render.
Yeah. I would just call it sprite render. Using the my and stuff is usually is discouraged. Because it's inherently yours because it's part of the class. So just do I also underlining is only used for constants. So just do sprite render like that. Yeah, exactly. We don't have to go through all the formatting, but there's more formatting I'll teach you later.
Do sprite
then
render
do-
dot sprite equals
Equals current sprite set dot random sprite. I think there's a function for that.
Actually, do I even
Yeah.
need this line?
If you want to allow them to change poses, then you'll need the whole set.
Okay. And how do I get another pose out of the?
You can just get a random one, or I think you can just call next. I forget. Start typing stuff and you'll figure it out. Sprite set. Let's see what I have here. Okay, so I don't have next. I have get next sprite. but you'll have to give it the sprite set's
I can just
current
run this a
index.
random amount of times, right? Like,
You could, but you can just you can make sure that you cycle without repeats. So get next sprite works, but you'll have to just do inside the argument there. Well, here, yeah, go back, get next sprite, and then inside the parentheses there.
this not recognizing? Do I have the wrong?
Current sprite set.
Get next sprite. I don't
Yeah,
see-
it's just because you don't have anything in the parentheses. It takes an argument. Do current sprite set in their dot index. Oh, sorry, no, current, fuck. No, that's not gonna work. Shit. Yeah, I guess I don't have any way to get you. I guess I didn't think about this.
I mean, does get random sprite give me a random pose too?
it gives you a random pose. That's what it is. So what you should actually do is you should store an index, and you shouldn't use get random sprite. You should use get next sprite. And you should store an index at the top. That's how I should do it. So that you guarantee. This makes sense. This thing doesn't need to store an index. Alright, so just do index, pose index, or sprite index, whatever you want to call it. Either way. Works. But you don't want to do index equals. You want to start it off at 0. Right, so at the top, index will start with at 0 equals 0. Well, you could just do it in the definition. Yeah. And then you'll start with the current, get next sprite index. Yeah, and then get rid of the first one, or at least if you want a specific one. So yeah, so this will change the pose.
And if I do index plus equals random range of 1 to 100 or something, is it smart enough to cycle through? If it's, if there's 12 poses and I get number 13 from...
no, it's not right now,
okay.
but I can make that work. It's right now what
That's
it
fine,
will do
I just use modulo for the... Actually, how do I get the total number?
It won't break. It will just it'll just set it back to 0.
Is modulo
It'll
working
give you the
here?
0. Yeah, it does. It's it's the percentage thing.
Then all I really need is the number of sprites minus 1, and I could just
Which
use
it has
mod.
is called sprite count. Yeah. It's in the for sprite current sprite set dot sprite count is the number. What you should do, go up, also you would make it a property. So back that out. Keep the equals.
All right, sorry. Back,
that's right.
back just the 0.
Sprite count. Yeah, but so now instead of now put an arrow on it, a right arrow, and then do current sprite set dot length, that sprite count or whatever the fuck it's called.
And this will just, whatever gets updated,
Whenever it gets called, it basically says, okay, I'm gonna check this value again.
so I never need to update this.
Update
it will
it
just
now.
always say, oh, that's nice.
Yeah, it's a property. It's yeah, it's like a really short function. You can think of it as.
Okay.
It's a little more complicated than that, I guess, but.
All right, that should
all.
basically be all the basics.
Yeah, so that first one is to get the starting, or to get a random sprite, but then, yeah. Right now, yeah, you'll figure it out. It should be pretty straightforward.
Actually, let's just see
Alright,
if
let me
it just
finish my
works.
right up here. So the problem here with that code right now, right, is that you are setting the sprite to a random sprite, then you're iterating the index, and then you're setting it to the next index. So the first line in that change sprite does nothing.
This line?
Yeah, it's not doing anything, right? Because you're just overriding it with the
Oh yeah,
line
yeah.
36.
Yeah, that's I just want to see if it does, if it changes at all. But I guess we can
Yeah, it should.
run this
Yeah.
out for now.
So did you? Well, we'll see. Yeah, do you have a sprite set already set? How are you getting your current sprite set? Yeah.
That's what I thought this would do. It would give me just
You'll
a
have to do that
random.
at start. Because remember that's the not the go back to your code. Go to the top. Oh, you do have it at start. Never mind, you're good. I thought you deleted that, but no, you just moved it to the top. Yeah, so when you run that, that should populate. As long as you're in a room that has a sprite set manager. I didn't think about that. Do you not have a sprite set manager
No,
in
it's
this
a
room?
totally new room, but I can.
It has there's a prefab for it. It might just be called Sprite Manager.
Sticker set
Because
manager.
yeah, try that. There it is.
Cool. Okay. Still has the
And
cop
is it
background. I'll
actually
have to-
changing?
It is actually changing once.
It
Why
did the
is it-
first time, yeah. Why is it not doing
know
it
what's smart?
again? Oh, because your
Enjoy
index
the
is always
best
going
gourmet
up.
meal
Your
at
index
home
isn't
that
looping
you
back
didn't have to
around.
cook. Upgrade your plate with Factor. Chef crafted.
So remember how I said right now it's not smart enough. I should add that functionality.
With Factor.
Oh, yeah,
If you want
yeah,
to
I
try to
never
add
put
it
that in.
yourself, you can. It's actually
I mean,
pretty easy.
all I was gonna
like you
do
said,
was
do module.
Yeah, what is the reference for the total number?
Length, but I would put this straight into get next sprite.
Alright, and that is in sticker set manager.
Yeah.
Get. Oh, wait, is this the right thing? I don't see get next sprite. Was it get next sprite? It was.
You want to do it? It's in the sprite set itself.
Okay. So if current index is greater than or equal to sprites.length, current index equals.
Oh yeah, hold on, I'm getting there now. Actually, it actually should be
It's setting it
smart
to
enough.
0
Oh
right
no,
now.
yeah. Well, because you are going above. Yeah, so you do want to do a modulo here.
How do you? It's
So-
not reading mod. This is what it is in GameMaker. What is it?
It's the percentage
This.
symbol.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Sprites.length -1 or
Yeah.
sprites.length?
So well, you won't even need the mod here. I don't think you'll Hold on. Oh, sorry, you won't need the if. You'll need the mod rather. You don't need the if though, right? If you should just be able to mod it, whatever it is, regardless. If it's already within range, it's just gonna return the remainder, which is itself, right? I think it's length, right? Because if the number is the length, then you get 0, right? Because the mod is the remainder of the
Right.
number.
Modulo is the most useful. I don't know what you'd call it. Operator when making a tile-based game. Okay, boom, 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 boom. Cool.
Looks like it's working. Cycling well. Cool.
It also needs to cycle through the. It needs to re-roll the sticker too. Right now, it's just re-rolling the. This is the re-roll the sticker, right?
That's That's just gets you a random one. The re-roll is the one you have in the start. Like get you a new sprite set. You mean?
Yes.
Yeah. So then that will be. I assume you'll want that as a different function, but maybe on
Yeah.
right click or something.
I'll probably make all these into their own. Get new sprite.
Yeah.
This can be.
That's random if you want a random pose, which like doesn't actually seem like a use case for this thing.
Oh yeah.
So if you put also, you can put index plus plus in that argument right there too. Not what you're typing right now. I'll let you finish what you're doing, but I'll give you
Yeah,
another
hold on.
suggestion
Let
if
me
you
just. Set random sprite. Set new pose.
So set new sprite would be that. That would be set random pose, right? Not set random sprite.
This is just next, right? Because it's just going up one.
No, the one above the function in the middle there. That's set random pose. Even though it's get random sprite, it's actually the pose in the sprite set, right? Yeah. And that's a set new sprite set. If you want to maybe put the set on the end to confirm it, just to be clear that it's a set that you're changing. And you can actually call that function from the start.
So if I do this and set next pose.
It should change both at the same time. Yeah.
Discover doubles your cash back at the end of your first year.
Can I say right or left click in here?
You earn rematch.
I don't know.
Almost down.
We don't really use that. That's only for like quick prototype testing that we usually do.
Okay, this is
Only when on left. Yeah. You could try making it a button, but then you need to have a player controller in there, like the hand in there. Which you could still do if you grab the hand from the offline mode room.
Whatever, it doesn't really matter that much. I don't really need that much control over this sticker. I was just curious.
Yep.
Okay. For this, I may even not even need the post for now. I at least want to. I think I might at least want it to start on its most basic pose.
Yeah, that's fair.
What are all these extra changes? Alright, that's the basics. I will try to work on that tomorrow. Anything else we need to do for the Robbie Ismail thing?
No, I'm just writing up our description. Just still, I guess, like what he sees when I book the meeting, but I'll book it and then let you know what I get. I guess I'll probably have some stuff that tells me how to set it up.
Although, real quick while I'm in here. Main public. Actually, oh yeah, no. This will be two different objects, so that's fine. Shadow. Alright, there we go. Now the shadows work.
Cool. Looks good. Yeah, they could do like a little. If you could make them twist, rotate to where they're like invisible because they're obviously a sprite, right? And then have it do the swap at the line where you're seeing it invisibly, where you're seeing it like line up that way, and then as it rotates back out, it's the new sprite. I think that would look really nice.
Yeah, I still think I want to use that for iterating through the poses, in which case I will actually need
We could,
because like
okay, so you want to have it go down and up.
I would like these things,
ones,
like
yeah.
a bunch of these different random things dancing around, right? And every once in a while, one of them flips to does exactly
The
what
new
you just
pose.
said, to a new pose, so you
Yeah.
can see what some of the poses are before you start
I
the
think
game,
that makes
right?
sense. Yeah, I think that makes a ton of sense.
And then if you and maybe you could even it's like a secret thing. If you right click it, it'll just force it to do that. And then if you left click it, it pops down here. And see, like this one, this is a definite bottom.
Yeah, you want it at the bottom
centermost.
one. Yeah.
Should I just for now put the center for that thing at the bottom? We'll figure that out later, or should I make a wrapper that says like
Just put it at the center, and I'll come up with a way to do it. I know I have some ideas for how to do it. It'll be pretty. It won't be that hard. Ideally I'll be able to make a tool so that you can just define it with the image there. That would be nice.
Actually, probably I could just put the center in one of the jail bars, right, and it'll be fine.
You could,
For
yeah,
that one.
but
That-
then it won't
that's
then it
fine.
won't rotate around. It would rotate around the jail, that
Does it
weird
have
jail
one
bar.
that's right in the center? No, I guess especially for this open one, the center is definitely in
Yeah.
the space. But for the normal one, and this one too, will also be. But like, you know, if it was just this, I would say it's not so bad if it rotates around here, right? But whatever. Yeah. Actually, you already have a shader that does a white outline, don't you? For the or no, it's a black outline.
For that's inside the image itself though. It doesn't do you know. I could probably make a outline shader like you're talking about on so that you don't have to worry about having a separate object to update, but it's given that there's only going to be so many stickers on the screen, it's easier just to do it with a separate object. And I'll just make a shader to make that black white.
Actually, that reminds me, this will actually need 3 sprite renders. One for the outline, one for the shadow, and one for the main.
Yeah, so you probably should just have a well, you don't want to do it random for each of them, right? Because they should all match. But I would create a new function called set sprite renders sprite that takes a sprite, and then you can just call that and set it every time. You know what I mean?
Sorry, I wasn't listening. What's that?
I would create a new function
that
called
you feed all
set.
these into.
Yeah, especially because what you're doing right now is going to set random ones for each of them.
Oh yeah, I'm not using set random pose. This probably won't actually be needed really, but yes, for this, right now I'm not using this, so it doesn't matter. But yes, this would.
But like the way that you would do this would be to create a new function called void set update sprite renders, and it would take a sprite as an argument, and then it would just set the sprite for each renderer to the sprite you give as an argument.
Gotcha. Yeah. That makes sense. All right, and then.
I feel like the only problem with the shadow is that it actually goes the opposite way of the light. Like if the light is in the middle, the shadow seems to like stick in the middle, you know what I mean? Like that's not actually how the light would work, right? Because that implies there's 2 lights.
That's true, but I think it's still, it is not accurate to light, right? Yeah, you wanted the inverse of this.
Yeah, exactly.
But like, but yeah, that's fine. We can mimic that.
We could do it in code later.
Bugging me a little right now is you can't see it. You can see it real good on the, like, why is the outline not, the outline's at 0, 0, 0, except a little bit back. It's a little bit bigger. Why is it like so much more pronounced on the ends than it is up and down?
It's hard to say. Make it some other color, like like red or something. Yeah, like it's. Make it more. Give it more scale. Make it 1.1. Maybe
Yeah,
because
I
it
think it's gonna
scales
have
it
the
at
same.
the.
Whoops. Have the same thing going on.
It
Like
does
it is
almost
slightly
look like
moving
it's.
left and right, like the
Well, I
other
wonder
thing.
if it's because some of these things aren't centered in their image, right? So when you scale them, they don't scale proportionally to what you would think they would scale to.
Oh, you think
I
it's...
might be able to create yeah, like if the gun's not centered, then it's gonna scale. It's scaling around the center, right? Which is
Oh
not the
yeah, yeah,
exact.
yeah. Okay, so that might just fix itself with the.
If everything is centered in the actual middle of the thing, we'll see. I'm not 100% sure
They
on
should
that.
have the
If
same
they-
center though, right? Like, although.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they technically would. But this one, like, you see how it has a. Well, I don't know.
Here's a good
Some of them too
example.
just don't get colored because they are because they have black on them, and you won't see the black get colored until I change it to white because of the because the black doesn't accept the multiply from the sprite renderer, right? So if you even though it's red, it's because it's already black. You can't see the outline there, but it does look like it's so subtle. We can figure it out. I'll worst case I can just create a shader that does what we want.
Yeah, that's fine. We could do a shader. Shader is probably better because then we don't have to worry about its position relative to anything. It's just always on the same.
Yeah, exactly.
Same layer as that.
It's always the same thing. Yeah, I can make that work.
I could probably honestly figure out how to do an outline shader. That maybe I can do that. That's
If you
probably
want to do it in
straightforward.
Shader Graph, you don't even know how to program it. Just go put things together. Literally, just take the texture, multiply it, and multiply it by some factor. Scale it. There's literally a scaling function in Shader Graph, and then just add them together.
Alright. I'm probably gonna go to bed. I will catch you later.
Yep. Have a good night.